Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I meant to actually start this a little bit ago, but I got a little bit tied up trying to take care of some stuff before the show so that things could take care of themselves during the show. As you guys filter in, please like and share out the video. I would appreciate it. I didn't do a crappy Monday. I really kind of slacked this week, but I figured I'd make it up for you guys and, sort of do this video. I was stewing about this. I was working this morning and I was tweeting a lot. I know some of you guys follow me on Twitter at @the_Crapgamer, and I was just like, this new Phil Spencer interview was really, really kind of bugging me. And, I finally started to put two and two together. More and more people are starting to understand what Phil Spencer's all about. He's a huckster. He'll sell you a bridge. He'll sell you on anything. So I think, and what I've heard is he's heard a lot of the complaints from myself and some of the other people who want exclusive announcements and things like that. And things aren't exactly going great for him right now. So, hey, as you guys get in here, please like and share it out. I appreciate it. It is started. Just you might have to refresh your feed a bit, like it and share it out and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, this video or this interview that he did recently was just one of those things that just kind of like I said, was grating to me. I didn't understand what was going on with it, why Phil is sort of damage controlling yet again. I don't understand it. So I wanted to go over it and kind of talk about it and explain exactly why I'm sort of ticked off about this. So Phil Spencer in this interview says Xbox has to mean quality games. We've got work to do there. Our first party output hasn't been the best. Right. I mean, that's stating the obvious. Their first party output has been really bad. So the first thing is he's admitting that the first party games pretty much this generation have been really bad, which, okay, thank you. Now, how about you apologize for that? Right. Like, I don't understand it. So my main thing is this, right? I've been saying all along, they've set Xbox, the console itself, up to fail next generation by saying they don't care if they sell consoles. That's not how they make their money. By the PC venture, the whole Xcloud stuff, which obviously he laughed when somebody asked him in an interview if Xcloud was ready to launch. So clearly they're betting a little bit too early on this Xcloud stuff, and it's just going to be something that sounds nice, like Play Anywhere, right? Hey, you buy a game once, you can play it anywhere. When reality is hardly anybody took advantage of that, and probably nobody will take advantage of Xcloud or any kind of remote play or anything like that. I just don't see it. There was this article that came out yesterday. 31% of homes in the U.S. alone don't even have a broadband connection, let alone speeds to run some kind of cloud compute deal. So, that's just my take. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But the interesting thing for me was that Phil was basically out there saying, hey, our games have been really bad and they've got to be better. What I've all along been saying is, if people aren't buying, what's the reason why Xbox is last place? Right? What's the reason why nobody's buying an Xbox? Why is nobody buying an Xbox? Why is Xbox doing so poorly? Well, quite simply put, Xbox is doing poorly because they don't have the exclusives. And when you don't have any exclusives, that's not a good thing. Okay, so people aren't going to buy your console because you don't have any exclusive content to lure them in. Now, that's a problem. But furthermore, if you don't have any exclusives, nobody's going to bother with your services either. Like, nobody's going to care about Xcloud or paying for that Xcloud service on their phone or something if all you have is garbage games. And I think that's the problem that Phil is sort of seeing right now. I think that it's just one of those things that that he's going to have. He's starting to come to terms with now. It's like this whole thing, like, oh, well, there's people that are, there's people that are actually going to buy a console or use their service if if there's not great content with it, right? So the main thing that I'm kind of saying is that Sony, people buy a PlayStation 4 because there's a ton of great content there that's exclusive to that. People buy a Nintendo Switch, there's a ton of great content that's exclusive to that. In fact, I'm playing through Marvel Ultimate Alliance right now. Mario Maker 2 just released. These are great games, right? Obviously, Death Stranding is coming out later this year on PS4. They also have Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, Dreams, and a handful of other ones. Judgment just released. That's an exclusive. Days Gone released a few months ago. So they got a ton of quality exclusive content on their platform. Microsoft doesn't have that, and he recognizes that. So a lot of people go, the damage control side of people go, oh, well, look, Phil's right here. He's admitting that there's a problem and says they'll fix it. Well, case closed, problem solved, right? As if, saying oh, well, he's admitting that there's a problem. Oh, that's going to fix it, right? Or I see people point out the fact that, you know, um, they have new studios, right? And I say, hey, I think new studios is great. You know, it's really cool that they have new studios, but without any kind of idea of when we're going to get games, are we going to get games from these big AAA studios, or are we getting AAA games from these studios? And when will we see those? I think that's the better question. So when you go down the list and you go, okay, well, let's take a look. Halo, we know we're getting more Halo. We know we're getting more Gears. We know we're getting more Forza. But we get that every generation, and people are kind of getting tired of that being the only thing. So you look at Rare, obviously Sea of Thieves is still a thing, but they're also working on a new multiplayer-only title. Okay, so another games as a service game from Rare. Undead Labs, they're working on State of Decay 3, so another State of Decay game. Okay, we're going to get Fable, so that's cool. I'm being serious about that. That's cool. Like, I think Fable is great. Like, it sucks that we had to wait, you know, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, whatever it's going to be before we get that. But hey, I'm happy that we're getting Fable. Ninja Theory, they're bringing that AA free-to-play game, Bleeding Edge, and supposedly working on something else. But when that something else is going to be ready, I don't know. Maybe 2022, maybe 2021 outside chance. I don't know. The Initiative, you know, 2022, 2023, something like that. I think Obsidian might be the furthest away because they're almost their entire team is working on Outer Worlds, and they are actually contractually obligated to do Outer Worlds 2 if that company wants them to, based on the sales and success of the first one. And that would be a multi-platform game as well. So they wouldn't be able to actually start something full-fledged until maybe after that point, or maybe they're tied up for another game after a sequel. So who knows? So I would just consider them to be, you're not going to see anything big AAA from them for a while, in my opinion. You know, when you look at Double Fine, they're a small studio. They're doing Rad, and which is a game that comes out next year, multi-platform, and Psychonauts 2, another multi-platform game that comes out next year. Compulsion Games, they're still doing We Happy Few DLC. They just dropped some, but they got more to come out. Supposedly they've started work on something new. I don't know, but that's like another AA type game. So the Initiative and Ninja Theory are kind of wild cards. Basically, those are the only two that I believe we could get something AAA from at this point, like relatively within like 2022, some before then. You know, the rest of them, like I said, Obsidian, I don't see how Obsidian could get anything out before then. Obsidian, I'm thinking 2024, 2025 before they could get something out AAA, maybe something AA, like a Pillars of Eternity type thing, like a top-down type situation. In Exile, another one, they're working on Bard's Tale 4, that's a multi-plat, and Wasteland 3, that's a multi-plat as well, and the VR game that's going to be exclusive. So there is that. You know, so again, there's lots of things that there's lots of things and reasons why, you know, I don't get as excited as other people. You know, I'm not trying to be a downer on purpose, but when you just look at what these studios have and what they're working on right now, you start to figure out that we're stuck with Halo, Gears, and Forza as the only games pretty much for the foreseeable future for the next 3 to 4 years. And that's a bummer to me. You know, that's a real bummer to me, unfortunately. So, hey, hit the like button if you guys are just joining me. I would appreciate it. Hold on. I sell online. Says, crap, just switch to PS4. Please stop making this kind of video. Everyone switch to another creator, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess why hear the truth when you could just do whatever? Look, it's totally optional content, dude. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. To be honest with you, I'm going to keep doing and saying, like, I've always used this channel as an outlet for my own personal opinions. That doesn't change. Just because my opinion is different now, I'm going to still use it as an outlet, you know? So that's just, you know, just me. And if you don't like it, then please, by all means, you're free to do whatever you want. Nobody's forced to watch, you know, anybody else's content. You know, I certainly don't. You know, I watch sort of what I want, and that's it. So yeah, but anyway, I want to get back to this Phil Spencer stuff. Hold on. King Felix says, "Hey, crap." He says Microsoft hasn't had a Game of the Year winner since Halo Combat Evolved. Been nearly 2 decades. Wait, they haven't had any Game of the Year since then? I think Gears of War won some Game of the Year awards, right? I think so anyway. You know, I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. And I think Fable 2 on the 360 won G4 TV's Game of the Year with Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb. Maybe you guys can remember that long ago. But yeah, that was pretty epic back then as well, to see that kind of happen. But I agree, like this past 6 years has just been kind of a nightmare. Microsoft started off promising, in my opinion, with the games that they were showing off, the Rise, Dead Rising, Forza, Titanfall, Sunset Overdrive, Halo Master Chief Collection, even though that ended up being broken for a while. But they started off incredibly well. And I think that that's something that, people kind of take for granted or whatever. It's just one of those things that we expected them to build on that. Because think about when the Xbox One got announced. I know everybody's on the whole PC or TV thing still. But when they actually did that E3, they were like Quantum Break, Dead Rising 3, Titanfall, Sunset Overdrive, Halo, Forza. They showed Killer Instinct. They had a lot of games, like I said, Titanfall was a huge thing at the time. And so those are reason to be very optimistic. Now, you might go, oh man, crap, why you sound so angry and bitter? Well, I don't know. I believed in this company for so many years and kind of went to bat for them. And then it turns out that they really just kind of took everybody for granted that was backing them and just threw them in front of the bus. And I don't really appreciate it. So when I see Phil Spencer going out there selling snake oil once again, saying, hey, we're going to do better. We've got to do better. Right? How many times have we heard him say that this generation? That's, to me, it's kind of unacceptable that he's still out there saying, hey, we're going to do better. Don't say it. Prove it. Prove that you're going to do better. Because I think that that's going to be the real marker of what the next Xbox can do, is if they can prove that it's going to be better. And that's exactly what they do. What's my Gears 5 Metacritic prediction? I think it's going to get an 83 or 84, probably somewhere in the line of what the last one got. I don't think it's going to do incredibly well, but I think it's going to do, good enough. I don't know like how they're judging things or metrics anymore in terms of sales or whatever. Unfortunately, I would love to know what they plan on doing with that game in the future. Like, I'm not sure. They'll never announce a sales figure, by the way, but they'll go, there's been 8 million locusts wiped out, and this many of this, and they'll do stuff like that. So I think that that's where sort of will differentiate the things, because they'll never announce any kind of sales for any of their games anymore. And the reason why they're going to do that, quite obviously, is because their games aren't selling very well, and they have Game Pass and blah blah blah. Everybody gets it for $1. That doesn't really matter. They're still going to kind of pimp it as doing something much better than it actually did. Is Bart's Tale a Homer Simpson's Odyssey? No, it's Bard's Tale. B-A-R-D. Bard. Like a bar. It's like a point and click type of game or whatever. So yeah. I'm kind of disappointed with a lot of what we're saying. As we cross over 200 people, would you guys please like it and share it out? I'd love to get over 100 likes really quick. Hold on. Next doc says, Crapgamer, the only telling the truth about Xbox platform. Keep it up. We hardcore gamers need to support the gaming platform that aligns with our gaming values. No, Dave GX, it's not myths, it's truth. So let me throw something at you here, Dave. And look, I'll take on any Xbot. Throw me an Xbox dude and tell him I'll take him on. We'll debate, right? Anybody that you can think of. They're going to look silly, because the things that we're going to debate is the last time they had an exclusive, Xbox game sales, console sales, how they're going to continue to get worse, and how spreading your games out through multiple platforms isn't actually helping your brand. It's actually hurting it because it's too soon. Like, people can't really argue these facts. We haven't had a new AAA IP announced since 2015, and that's a fact. That's not a myth. That's a fact. When you look at what these studios are working on, that's factual, because we know what they're working on. They're like, hey, we're working on these games. Even a game like Minecraft Dungeons would have been a pretty cool exclusive to have, or console exclusive, but no, it's also on Switch and PS4. Also, Microsoft just renewed the IPs, Brutal Legend and another one, and I got a feeling that those are about to be ported to Switch. So, look, Microsoft is already like the largest third-party publisher on the Nintendo Switch. So they're going to continue doing this stuff, and they might make money from it. But the Xbox itself, let me explain something. The reason why exclusives are so great is because developers can focus on one piece of hardware. If that Spider-Man game that came out on the PS4 was a multi-plat, it wouldn't have been nearly as good. If you would have had to get it ready for 5 different platforms, it wouldn't have been nearly as good. But because that game was designed specifically for the PS4, it was great. You know, it looked great. It played great. It was great. God of War, same thing. Like Sony's exclusive, same thing. Even the Nintendo Switch exclusives, right? They're not having to make that for a PC or two other versions of a console. You know, it's like, boom, we make this game for our console, for our Switch, and it's good to go. And they can take full advantage of that. Microsoft, they're like, well, even though I know what the damage control will be, they don't have to do any extra work for xCloud, but they still have to do something, right? They still have to get it on the PC. They've got to get it up and running on the original Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the X, a PC. You know, they've got all this stuff to do, and it suffers. Ever since they started introducing this PC crossplay stuff, our games have been delayed, and we've had shoddy quality games. Think about it, okay? Because they've got to launch them at the same time. Quantum Break was supposed to come out in 2015, and the reason why it got delayed was because they made it a Play Anywhere title, the first one. So it got delayed because they had to get ready. Crackdown, I'm 100% convinced one of the reasons that was delayed the last time, aside from it like not being ready completely, was the fact that they wanted to get it up and running on PC as well, and they had to do the PC crossplay stuff. Gears as well. You know, for a company that preaches, you know, so many different options for us, they sure as heck don't give us the option to opt out of crossplay, do they? Right? And why don't they give us an option to get out of crossplay? Well, because their idea of the future is people on Xbox playing against people on a phone, playing against people on a PC, and not worrying about if it's a quality version or not. You know, if it's a quality type game or if it's going to meet some kind of standards. They don't care. And I think that's a shame, you know? And what for? Crackdown is already dead online. So you delay it to get that crossplay stuff going. And what happens? The game already died online anyway, like a quick death or whatever. So in my opinion, it's pretty clear what's going on, what Microsoft is doing. They want to cater towards those 2.5 billion, you know, whatever they think they can get, but they're not going to get anywhere near that because those gamers aren't paying for stuff. They're playing little Candy Crush games on their phones and stuff. They're not going to buy into a subscription for, you know, $15 a month to play Witcher 3 on a phone. There might be some people that do that, but it's going to be the same people that play, you know, the same people that play PS Now, which is under 1 million people. Like, there's not a huge market for this. I know they keep saying that there is, and I'll harken back to that whole less than 31% actually have broadband connections in the US, and it's worse than that around the world, and yet they think it's going to reach all these people. I just don't think it is. You know, I think it's just not going to be something that that's actually going to happen. So quantity, hold on. Christopher says quantity over quality is what Xbox motivates are. Well, that could be it. I mean, if you look at it, hey, everybody, please hit the like button. I would appreciate that. It would mean a lot to me if you guys would share it out as well. We could get more people in here as I kind of go over this. I do believe that, yeah, well, Honey Elizabeth says exclusive sell systems, period, no damage control in that. That's the thing that I've been saying. Like, if you don't have exclusives, then why is the Switch selling so well? Why is the PS4 selling so well and the Xbox isn't? It's pretty clear that the quality just isn't there. So I'll go back to Phil's interview real quick. If you're just joining me, Phil Spencer did this interview where he says Xbox has to mean quality games. We've got work to do. Our first-party output hasn't been the best. So I linked this article as well so you can check it out. He was interviewed by Fortune Magazine. It's over a 40-minute one-on-one video. And Phil Spencer admitted that the struggles that Microsoft has had with their first-party output in recent years and vowed to do better through a variety of improvements. And he says, and I think of the power of content. I see it every day. The things that people come to Xbox. Very few people turn on their Xbox to stare at the dashboard. People turn on their Xbox to go play games. And I think us having a strong first-party Xbox means when I think about Xbox, I'm going to think about quality games. We have work to do there. We haven't done our best work over the last few years with our first-party output. We made a conscious effort to invest in our first party. I think some of that is standing on stage and announcing the acquisition studios. Some of it's the hiring that we're doing at the studios that we already have. Some of it is ensuring that we have the right amount of time and we're able to focus. Some of that is just, you know, the autonomy of that I have running the games organizations now under Satya that allows us to look at game development for what it is. It is this weird mix of technology and art as well. It's not always easy to schedule those things and ensure we have times to get things right. And that hasn't always been true in the organization, but I feel good about it. I know our fans want to see us do better, and the teams are completely aligned behind that desire. So basically he's saying they're going to take extended periods of time to actually go out there and kind of complete these games, which I think, you know, you got to take your time. But at the same time, when you've taken as long as you have to do anything, right? Which they have, right? Don't kid yourself. They've taken an extended time. Like, again, we haven't had any single player or any AAA new IP announced in 2015. So it's already been 4 years going on 5 years, and now they're going to take their time making a new one with studios they just acquired last year. So if you think 4 to 5 years to do that, you're looking at 8 to 9 years before you get a true AAA type experience on Xbox. That is something worthwhile in my opinion. I'm not saying that some of these studios might not have something out first. Look, Bleeding Edge is a perfect example. Nobody's dying to get Bleeding Edge, in my opinion, right? Like that, the Twitter is not going crazy. People aren't worried about, you know, there's a handful of people in the tech test. I think you're going to see very few people actually play the game. But the fact of the matter is, Phil probably sees that there's not a lot of hype around Xcloud or Xbox right now, that Sony is dominating everything and Nintendo's dominating everything, and you've got to do better. You've got to get your name out there, and so that's why he's out there damage controlling. TLR9 says, honestly, I'm tired of hearing Phil talk. Let's see action. I agree 100%. Christopher Burgess says, I used to have an Xbox, but now I just stick to PlayStation and Nintendo. Microsoft have already lost many gamers. They've lost a ton of gamers, right? Like, they're not my first choice anymore when it comes to games, and that's sad. And people go, well, why not just switch completely then? Why should I totally have to abandon a platform that I love, right? I love the Xbox controller and that ecosystem and achievements, and, you know, some of my friends are there, and I got so used to Xbox Live, but they're diluting it with PC crossplay and crossplay with mobile and all this bullcrap. And, you know, why should I have to be the one to bow out and say, hey, well, I can't play that anymore? You know, why can't they just listen to the fans and deliver some games and announce some games? Valentin says, why can't Microsoft take Obsidian's Wasteland series and turn it into something great that isn't just another old school top-down RPG, make an epic Xbox exclusive, first-person, third-person RPG? Okay, well, Obsidian isn't Wasteland. That's In Exile. And Wasteland is basically copying what Fallout was before Fallout 3. So Fallout used to be sort of that top-down situation, and then they evolved it once it went to Bethesda into what we know of it as now, which is that like RPG. And I agree, they could do something like that. I just don't know that they're going to do that, because in my opinion, when they bought Obsidian and In Exile, those were two that they bought specifically for PC games. And I'm not saying that they won't ever make anything for console, because it'll come to console. Like Wasteland 3 is going to come to console. Nobody's going to care. But, you know, those are PC developers. Obsidian is a PC developer. Pillars of Eternity 2, Pillars of Eternity. Now, of course, they did do South Park, I think Stick of Truth, which was really good. But like I said, they're stuck with Outer Worlds, so they're really going to have a problem doing that. Steven says, crap, the controller is no excuse when you can use a junk box controller on a PS4. Just get I have an adapter that I don't mind using, but honestly, I've come to appreciate the PS4 controller a little bit more lately. It's not terrible. You know, it's not my favorite controller, but I think it's not terrible like I originally kind of envisioned. So there is that. You know, I think that it's a fine controller. It works. It's functional. It does it's definitely better than the PS3 controller. So there's that. But let me continue on with what Phil Spencer's saying. He says, if you go to the other extreme of console generations of old, you would ship a console. All the games would only run on that console. When the next console comes out, you put all the old stuff in a box, throw it in the closet, and everything is brand new, right? And you say, okay, like that's a scenario that helps gaming grow. What it does do is it causes somebody that was on your last console, like now they have to go buy all new games on the new platform. We want to create real differentiation. There was some ease of development, but now when you look at the games that are out, like Blizzard just launched the 15th anniversary of WoW. Those are games that have decade-plus lives, and they're still interesting things for people to go do in those games. And I think our role as a games industry, if you want to go invest your time and your money in these great franchises, we should make them live as long as possible. By the way, what he's basically saying is Microsoft is heavily invested in games as a service. So Sea of Thieves will be around a long time if that's your bag, baby. But guess what? A lot of people want single-player games, and, you know, those tend to be, you know, something you play for 30 to 60, 70 hours, and then you're done with it. And Phil doesn't like that. He wants you to keep going back, paying that subscription to play the game, Xbox Live, Game Pass, whatever. microtransactions. That's what he wants, and that's what he keeps on talking about here. That we should make them live as long as possible. Like we didn't have the end moment of a lot of these games. These games that have persistent lives. So it's why the focus on the cloud infrastructure, which allow these games to move from device to device, or at least your state on the game, even if the game has a local runtime. But when I log in on an Xbox Live on my Android phone, I'm on the same Xbox Live that I am on an Xbox console is really important. But that per device of everything is going to live on this device, and the kind of beginning, middle, and end of the content, the game experiences only live on that one device. It's just not where the biggest games in the world are today. So he's basically kind of playing up, just saying that, he wants people to have all these experiences with these different things. And I think that's admirable, but I think he doesn't get it the way that, say, Fortnite and Epic Games gets it, right? So Epic Games, when you play Fortnite on a Nintendo Switch, you're not playing against PS4, PC, or Xbox. Why? Because it's unfair. You have a frames per second disadvantage. You obviously have some input in disadvantages. There's a lot of disadvantages. You're playing with mobile people because that's more your style. If you try to play Fortnite with a keyboard and mouse on an Xbox, you're going to get matched up against PC players with keyboard and mouse because it matches you by input. That's a smart way to do it. I don't want to play against keyboard and mouse. I get consoles to avoid keyboard and mouse. So the fact that Microsoft keeps on pushing keyboard and mouse and all this stuff down our throats, I'm not a big fan of. And it kind of bums me out that they kind of talk about all these different things that they do. Oh, well, we're so much into options. And then you bring up the option to not do that, and they kind of get pissed off. And I hate that. I think that's really, really bad publicity and bad idea on them. Excuse me. Took a drink real quick. But I do think that if you ask me, well, what can Microsoft do? I don't know. They seem to be very stuck in what they want to do, and I don't think it's something that that they're going to be able to get out of just that easily. I think it's something that kind of they've got to follow it through. You can't just stop Play Anywhere right now because you've already been doing it for so long, and that's very disappointing. Hold on. Heath says, until there are huge changes in what and how Junkbox does what it does, nothing will change. Well, they would have to be able to do something in terms of getting exclusives. Why they didn't give people something to get excited about with this past E3, I'll never know. Like, you have a whole year just to yourself to get people excited, and they failed to do anything. They failed to capitalize on anything. Next Doc says, how the hell can these Xbox fanboys not hear Phil's words nearly as identical to EA's Andrew Wilson? Dang these fanboys. I agree. Like, if you listen to what Phil sounds like, he 100% sounds like they're the EA of the console business, right? Like, they're 100% the EA of console business. They just care about like the loot boxes or the surprise mechanics or whatever you want to consider them, and they only care about like these games as a service. Hold on. Simon says, crap, you should never take things this bad. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo do not see us as anything but dollar signs. It's a transactional relationship. Just go over the games you want are. Listen, I hear you. I do talk shows, man. I talk about video games. I have a video game channel, so obviously I'm going to talk about it. Microsoft doesn't have my money next generation, right? We're riding out this next year and a half with what it is. The PS5 is a day one for me. I already have a Switch. I have an Xbox One X. I'm not going to need a Scarlet. They have given me no reason to get a Scarlet. So I've been very, very clear about that. Clearly, if we were just dollar signs to them, I think they would actually invest in the games, though, don't you think? I mean, Sony does it. Nintendo does it. We're consumers. We're the ones that really tell people what it's all about, right? Like, without us, they have nothing. So if more people were speaking their mind about this, I feel like we'd all be so much better off, and it'd be a much better situation for everybody. The fact that nobody wants to speak out about this just kind of goes to show you where the mindset is for everything lately, right? Like, nobody wants to hold Microsoft accountable. Everybody just wants to act like, hey, we've never heard this before. Look, Phil has promised us the biggest and best E3 for the last 5 years. You don't believe me? Go Google it. He has 100% said, we're going to have the biggest and best E3 this year. He's been saying it for 5 years, folks. And each year he's kind of disappointed. We haven't got anything. He's promised more exclusives. In 2017, he said, we just signed deals, but we're not going to show them for 2 to 3 years because they're not going to be ready till then. Well, 2 years was this past E3. E3. So that would mean that they're a year out. Wouldn't they have shown him at this E3 unless he was lying? I can also go back to another thing that I remember Phil Spencer saying. He said he was going to make up Street Fighter V being exclusive to PlayStation 4 for us, right? He actually said that. He said he'd make it up to all of us. And yet, here we are. Well, he never made it up to us. He also said, you know what? He said, I'm going to go ahead and he goes, why when this was when they actually had Tomb Raider, right? I think it was Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusive to Xbox, and before anybody knew it was coming to PlayStation or anything else. They interviewed Phil Spencer and go, oh, is it going to go to PlayStation? And Phil Spencer said this, why would I invest in an IP? Why would I spend money on an IP if it was going to be to put it on a competing platform? He said that with Rise of the Tomb Raider. He was lying because obviously it did go to a competing platform, but you know, just more Phil Spencer stuff. Like Phil Spencer's a big old huckster. He like whatever he says, he realizes right now that there is no hype around Xcloud. There's no hype around the next Xbox. They haven't announced anything. They're not going to announce anything. You know, like, and I hated to be this bold on Twitter today, right? Because I know I'm probably annoying, and I'm probably annoying here to some people. But the truth of the matter is, there's no ever reason to get hype about Xbox anymore, right? Because whatever the announcement is, believe it or not, it's not going to happen, right? Whatever the announcement is. So I did this on Twitter today, and if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I'd like to get over 100 likes. I would appreciate it. But basically what I said was this. People are talking about Killer Instinct. Maximilian Dude went out there, got Killer Instinct trending, like #3 worldwide. He did videos. He was playing Killer Instinct. You had people commenting, the creators. They're like, oh, we'd love to do one. Well, guess what? I hate to be a bummer, you guys, but they're not going to do it. What has Xbox gamers asked Phil for this entire generation? We asked for Alan Wake 2, Quantum Break 2, Rise 2, Sunset Overdrive 2. We got none of it, right? We couldn't even get a Recore 2. What makes anybody think they're going to do another Killer Instinct? If they were going to do another Killer Instinct, they would have already done one. You know, it's not going to happen. It's just not happening. He's not about that life. I don't think that there's enough money in Killer Instinct for him to do it. You know, people ask for, like I said, Alan Wake 2. What do? They gave up rights to Alan Wake. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave up rights to Sunset Overdrive. I don't know what they're doing. They are very far. People think that they're going to launch with Halo and Forza. Forza Motorsport just started development. If they were to launch it as a launch title for Scarlet, it would have less than 2 years development. That's less than the normal Forza Motorsport would have. And the fact of the matter is, those 2 years this last time wasn't enough. So I wouldn't expect Forza Motorsport until 2021. Which, you know, so you're going to have Halo at launch. Maybe what else could possibly be ready? Like, I'm trying to think. The initiative obviously isn't going to have anything ready. What's going to be ready? Like, that's the thing, you know, that's the thing. Like, what is going to be, what is going to be the thing that's going to draw people to Xbox? What's the surprise that they could actually have to announce next year? Like, people are like, they're just waiting. They're waiting. They're going to get it out there. They're going to do something amazing. Like, what could they possibly have that's going to do anything that's going to get people excited? I think the clearer thing is, that they don't have anything. If they had something, I think they would have shown it. I don't think that it's a situation where they're afraid to show things anymore. I think it's a thing that they didn't have anything to show, and so that's why they didn't, you know, and that's a shame, you know. Like, I'm just keeping it real. You know, that's just one of those things. Just the way I believe in it. Hold on. Don't Call Me says, why would Microsoft give a sequel to games the community didn't support? Well, listen, what makes you think they're going to support anything new? I mean, you've got to take a chance sometimes, right? Just being honest with you, like, you've got to take a chance. Listen, sometimes a game doesn't hit its stride until the second or third game. Well, I'd say second game usually. Crap, Microsoft's first party is going to be a lot better this gen with new studios, and they're not done buying studios, but I don't think there will be #1 next gen. Well, listen, Mike, they got to be better because they only had 4 for the majority of this generation, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have bought some games. Why is it that Sony could get Spider-Man, Nintendo could get Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Why didn't Phil and company go out and try to get a Marvel game exclusive? I'm sure they could have got something, and they could have bought a game and hired a studio to do it. There is second party, there is third party. Why did they just sit on their hands and give us nothing for years? That's the problem, one of the big problems that I have. So even though next gen should be better in terms of games, I think it's too late. Nobody's going to buy an Xbox. They're not announcing anything. They don't have anything to announce. Next Doc says Xbox is a third-party platform now with a console. I think you're probably right. Sort of like the Madbox or something, or a Steam box. That's not a good thing. All they're doing is cranking out games for Game Pass. That's a big problem that I have with some of what they're doing, because it's kind of clear if you look at some of the games that they're producing, they're not very good. Like, I don't have a lot of, listen, I was very hyped for State of Decay 2. Like, I have not made that a secret. I was very excited for State of Decay 2. I liked the first one. I thought it was a really good, surprise me kind of arcade game, and it was fun. It was janky and it was clanky, and it wasn't like a well put together game. But you figured when they said that the next one was going to be AAA, and they put a bunch of money behind it, and you thought that was going to be the game that we're going to get. We were going to get like an Unreal Engine. I thought we were going to get sort of The Last of Us, or like a Walking Dead type game with a story and all this kind of stuff. Didn't even have a story. It's just a game where it's like The Sims. You micromanage characters and there's random events. That's basically it. So that kind of ticked me off. That let me down. Sea of Thieves is only fun because you can play it with your friends and get drunk and just goof around. There's no real point to that game. So that's why I like that game. But I can see why people hate it. There's not really a game per se. So again, that's why I complain about that. Crackdown 3 was just horrible. Like a 7.5, like for 5 years in development, and they talked up the quality of the cloud. Like, here's the thing, they're still talking about cloud, right? The cloud. How can we trust anything they talk about with the cloud when they promised us all this stuff and all this destruction with Crackdown, and they give us this game, and you can't even party up with your friends when it launched, and now you can't even find any single you can't find a single match in that game right now. So they promise us the cloud, and it ends up doing nothing. So yeah, I don't believe anything. I don't believe in this Xcloud stuff. I don't believe in any of this cloud stuff, right? It's all BS. It's nonsense. It doesn't mean anything to us. It's console gamers. The only thing, this is what I say. People get tired of the doom and gloom. They're tired of you crap because doom and gloom, and I'm like, okay, well, give me something positive to talk about. Somebody give me anything positive to talk about, and I'll talk about it. Give me a list of some positive stuff to talk about with Xbox, and I'll talk about it. As far as I'm concerned, every single podcast, every single video by Xbox content creators should 100% start and stop with Microsoft needs exclusives. Exclusives matter. Let's get it done, Microsoft. That's what every single one of these shows should start and stop with. Not anything else. Because when it comes to gaming and it comes to consoles, if you don't have exclusives, you're nothing. And Xbox has been nothing almost this entire generation because it lacks games. Let's see. Street Fighter 6 on PS5, I'm in all the way. I wouldn't be surprised if that game's exclusive. Why would they bother putting it on Xbox at this point? It doesn't really make sense to do that. Just in my opinion, it doesn't really make any sense to make that exclusive. So hopefully they can go out there and do something with it that, and make it a great game. Because I got to admit, even though I like Street Fighter 5, it wasn't a great game at launch. It lacked a lot of content. So hopefully they make a game that's like ready for PS5 instead of having to wait for like a bunch of things to come in and things like that. So I would love to see a Street Fighter 5. I would love to see a Killer Instinct 2. I don't think it's going to happen at all, but I would love to see it. I think that people would be in for it. I think that it would be good for I actually think that it would be something that would be good for the brand. but I don't think that we're going to get that. I actually think it would work good for their games as a service too, because if you look at how the last one did, right, it was like free to play basically, but you had a rotating character, and and so you had a rotating character, and then you could buy the characters, and I thought that was great. I thought that was a really cool way to do it. I of course bought it for everything. I bought the ultimate editions or whatever, spent the $40 per season or whatever. And I thought that was really cool. I really liked the game. It was one of the few games that, like, fighting games that I really got into, because it was one of those things where you could get achievements through like the single player and stuff like that. And there was just so much content for the money, in my opinion. So hopefully, we can see some changes come along the way from both Microsoft and Sony in the future. Hold on. You guys going to answer? I'll answer some questions. What's up, Talus? Do you blame Phil or Satya for the Xbox change of direction? Phil is a PC gamer, so you guys got to recognize that, right? Like Phil, Mikey Barra, he's a PC gamer. They're both PC gamers. And they're just. I think Satya is a person who wants everything on everything. Right. I think Phil actually is trying to, if I had to guess, Phil might be trying to talk Satya into keeping exclusives on the PC and console only, and like their Xcloud or whatever. I get that. I don't even look at the cloud stuff as being their games on everything. I get what they're doing. It doesn't really matter to me. I think Sony might do something like that too with their games, but they're not going to put them on day and date or whatever. It's just, if you own it, you'll be able to play it, take it with you. I don't think they're going to do PS Now day and date or anything like that. There's no need to. Their exclusives are selling 15 million a pop. They're not going to go, and they have no reason to. Microsoft has these incredibly low-rated B movie type games, right? The State of Decays, the Crackdowns, and the Sea of Thieves and the Recors. So they have no choice but to put them in this service and let people play them. Otherwise, nobody would play them at all. So that's why they're stuck doing that. Nintendo and Sony have no need to do any of that stuff, to be honest with you, because they have great games. Microsoft are the ones that have the most approved with their games, because their games are terrible. With the exception of Forza Horizon games, this generation, Halo took a step back, Gears took a step back. You had the worst characters ever in Gears with Gears 4. Like, those characters just were so boring and lame. And I have a feeling that they're going to continue to be boring and lame in the next one. Like, it doesn't matter who they changed the protagonist to or why they did it. It all is because they're all boring characters. Like, nobody cares. So, as far as I can see, that was another game that took a step back, in terms of the quality and things like that. So, hold on. I'm going to take some. Hold on. Next Doc says, crap, did you see the list of exclusive games list on the 360 versus PS3? And Xbox One and PS4 since 2010, when Phil took control of first party, he has killed all exclusives. Yeah, he hasn't done a great job. If you just look at the games that cultivated and things like that, the exclusives and the IP, they haven't done a real good job of kind of getting these games out and doing things. I think that that's really something that they could have done a better job at. He's not even the head of first party anymore. To be honest with you, and I'm happy about that, because I feel like Phil only pushed through Phil games, and that's not the way it should be at all. Like, if you're Phil and you're the head of Xbox, why are you pumping through Voodoo Vince, man? Your gamers, your fans weren't brought up with Voodoo Vince, man. I get it. You had a good time with your kids playing Voodoo Vince. It's a great memory. Sometimes great memories should be left in the past. Focus on something good. Maybe somebody wants something new, man. They want something big in AAA. I get tired of playing these AA games. When people keep listing these games that Microsoft has, it just ticks me off all the more. Well, Halo Wars 2, whoop-de-doo. Cuphead, whoop-de-doo. Like, even if you like those games, they're nothing special, just my opinion anyway. It's like, I liked Ori, but do I think Ori was like the be all end all? Is it The Last of Us? Is it Uncharted? No, it's just an indie game that Microsoft got on the cheap. there's nothing special about these games, Recore, another one, probably one of a game that had huge potential, but then they got bogged down in this terrible thing where you had to keep getting cores. And I know they fixed that, but by then it was too late because most people don't go back to games. It's like you launch a game and however it is, people either stick with it or they leave it and they're not going to go back. And they just kind of had this game that did much and nothing, and that's really kind of unfortunate because I thought that the characters were decent characters and the setting was kind of cool. So, I thought it was maybe something that they could have built off of, but because that first impression was that game, nothing really happened from it. Nothing, and I don't think anything will happen from it. It's just one of those things that, we're just gonna have to live with, I think. So hopefully, and I want Microsoft to do better because we need that competition. So hopefully they can actually go out there and do better and get people excited for the brand, because I've not seen people less excited for Xbox in my entire time as being a YouTuber or gamer or whatever. People just are not excited about Xbox right now, and I completely understand why. And hopefully Microsoft in the future can actually get people back to being somewhat excited about the brand again. I don't understand why they're not. Raxel says, I'm not spending another penny on Xbox. Steve says, crap, if you like Spider-Man, you must play Infamous Second Son. I did play Infamous. I didn't like Second Son as much as the DLC. What was it? First Light. I liked the character in First Light a lot better. Cross Zaber says, during the wait for AAA new IP, Microsoft funded Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Funko Pop, Gears, Age of Empires, Forza Street. They have money, just not for Xbox hardcore fans. Yeah, those aren't like huge games. Like the games that they put out are really bad ones. And if you look at what they did with Gears, they took out the curb stomp. There was the smoking thing, which I don't care. That's never been in there with the coalition, so I get it, whatever. But they took out the curb stomp. They dropped the term of war. And I don't know, just to me, it just smacks of something. It just smacks of like an agenda. And I guess the inner me just doesn't really like it. Reunion K says the excitement for Xbox games is gone for me. JD3000 said the Xbox is dead for real. Well, listen, Xbox, what Xbox for me says, Xbox is a console, right? That's gone, in my opinion. Like that, there's no hope for Xbox to console, folks. That's long gone. See ya. It's out of here. Now, what there is Xbox the app or Xbox the service that is going to do okay, to be honest with you, Satya Nadella just said this, right? He's like, so he made it clear. He's like, Sony's using our Azure servers for the back end of theirs. Maybe Nintendo's going to use it for the back end of theirs. They own Havoc Engine. They own all this other stuff. They're making money no matter what. But that money hasn't helped them create anything great for Xbox fans. As far as I can tell, they're probably going to start publishing their games on PlayStation and Nintendo. I think the only reason why the Switch doesn't have full-on Xbox games is because the Switch can't handle full-on Xbox games. So I wait for the day because I saw it. Banjo-Kazooie was listed as a Switch game, right? I don't know if it's a remake or what, maybe a remaster, remake or whatever, but I saw Banjo-Kazooie leaked on one of these sites, right? And imagine the blowback if this is a Banjo-Kazooie game that's not coming to Xbox One. Like, I can see Microsoft doing something like that because Phil and company does not care about their consumers, man. Like, whatever you're going to ask for, right? So YouTubers or whoever, and this is not a shot at any particular one, just in general, people are going to go, Microsoft is going to they're doing an XO19. Could we get exclusive announced? Nope. There's not going to be anything exclusive announced there. They're going to Gamescom. Maybe they'll announce. Nope. I can promise you they're not going to announce anything there either. Maybe a controller. You're never going to get any game announcements there. They're doing it inside Xbox. Maybe nope. Get that out of your head. Wait till next E3. Nope. Nothing. To be honest with you, Microsoft has the least amount of surprises that I've ever seen out of any company at E3. I can't think of the last time they surprised anybody at E3. Like, can any of you in the chat think of a time when they surprised us at E3 with a game, with a big, huge game. I can't remember that any time when they did that, to be honest with you. Hold on. The brand recognition is destroyed. Well, the brand recognition was only ever really relevant in the US and like the UK. Xbox is pretty irrelevant everywhere else. So, there sort of is that to sort of kind of take into consideration as well. Like Sony has always had better brand recognition for PlayStation. But I mean, it depends on how you look at things. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care about Xbox being number one. The thing that I cared about was them just competing and doing well for us, the fans. So, just one of the things that I was hoping for anyway. Hopefully they can do something and work something out for all the fans, because people like me, man, I put in a lot of work. I've done so much to try to hype up Xbox and get people excited, because I was genuinely excited, and now I think people can just tell now that I'm increasingly let down by what Microsoft is doing, and it's a shame because I don't want to ditch Xbox completely, but I'm afraid that I'm not really going to have a choice. And, I get it, man. I get why people are mad at me. I've become what I fought against at the beginning of this generation with Xbox, but I got to be real. Any of that stuff that Microsoft did wrong, right? The DRM, the, always online, the no trading used games, none of that stuff, right? They could have overcome all that. Like I used to really fight media bias. You know what would have crushed media bias and all Xbox hate? You put out a game the quality of The Last of Us or Uncharted, or quality games. Because you know how Sony got out of the PS3 hate? They put out quality games. It's that simple. People forgive you when you have great content, right? They would forgive them. So the fact that people held a grudge as long as they did, or maybe still are, that's on Microsoft. If they would have been putting out quality games, none of this would have been a thing, right? It wouldn't have been a thing. It doesn't make sense to me that people still think, there's some kind of agenda. I don't think there's an agenda at all anymore. I think the only thing that we're seeing is the fact that, Microsoft continues to put out piss poor content, right? I mean, they put out these 65 rated games, and I know even if you're not a Metacritic fan, it's still one of those things that, people feel let down by this all the time. And that's really kind of a shame, in my opinion. So I just got to say, that's just something that, that's really kind of one of the bigger things that's let me down this entire generation. Microsoft has been screwing up the last 7 years. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, it was a Kinect. It was a Kinect box. How do you feel now that you are speaking as a gamer than being a fanboy? Well, I think that I was always a gamer, but when I was getting attacked, when I first started doing these type of videos and stuff, you got to remember I was getting attacked for my opinion, right? And so I think anybody that's getting it, like, I was unaware of the CD side of YouTube or the CD side of anything, right? So I was doing these cheesy little reviews, right? And you guys probably remember it. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. Crappy reviews where the games aren't always crappy, but the reviews usually are. Right? So I was just doing these reviews for fun. I did one video. I had no idea that there was this huge backlash against Microsoft, right? So I did a video and I said, I'm getting Xbox One. I can only afford to get one. I'm getting an Xbox One. I can't get a PS4 right now, but so I'm picking Xbox One. And the reason why I went with Xbox One was Killer Instinct. When I saw that came back, and they also had Titanfall, and that was an exclusive, I knew I wanted it. And Dead Rising 3 looked good, and Rise looked good, and Forza, it was easy choice. And Sony only had Knack and Killzone. It was a super easy choice. People were livid. Like I was like, holy crap. So most of you, if you were in that same situation, you probably would be like, well, I'm not going to let people dictate what I like. And you have a kind of a chip on your shoulder. So that's how I looked at it. But I will say, like, I was sort of blinded. I was taken in by Phil and, like the stuff that Phil says and promises. It's easy now to sort of look at what's happened and say, well, Phil was lying. Like, he lied here. He said we were going to get VR. We didn't. He promised to make up Street Fighter 5. He didn't. He promised big, big, more exclusives, best E3 ever for the past 5 years. Didn't deliver. You know, he just doesn't deliver. He just tells us what we want to hear. And ironically, he now I think is getting that there's no hype for his console or Xcloud, and so he's out there damage controlling. And he should probably just stop talking, to be honest with you, because people are starting to notice and put together these times that he says these things, right? And it's true. It's true. You know, it's true. It's 100% true. Life after Xbox looks promising. Epic went off to make Fortnite while Bungie went off to make Destiny. Imagine if those were Xbox exclusives. Well, Destiny, Bungie wanted to do Destiny, and Microsoft was like, nope. Did Xbox copy paste their new UI from the PS4? It sure looks like it. It looks a lot like they've sort of copy pasted it. I get it because Sony's is very kind of sleek in comparison. And Microsoft's has been clunky. So I don't have the new one personally yet because I left that tier of the Insider program. And the reason why I left that tier of the Insider program, you guys, is because, to be 100% honest with you, I had the factory reset my Xbox like 10 times, and I got tired of that. So if this is, and I've heard from people, it's really smooth UI, well, thank goodness. It only took 6 years of a generation to get it right and copying Sony's. So I hope it is right. If they did it from copying Sony, I'm fine with that. I hope Microsoft copies everything Sony does, right? Let's be real. Sony copied the 360 template, and it worked like a charm. 100 million consoles later, you're absolutely crushing everything. You know, I really, it's just really one of those things that it's pretty clear. So I would love for Microsoft to copy what Sony's doing. I heard that the reason why we're even getting a Fable is because Horizon Zero Dawn did so well, and as this open world like single player experience, that Phil was like, "Hey, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and copy that and see if we can't like get some of that as well. Some of that epicness." So, I'm going to be very interested to see how this sort of works out, just because I want to see how, I want to see the future, man. Like I really just want Microsoft to understand that there is this breed of gamer that cares a lot about exclusives and stuff, and without exclusives, there's not really a reason to get these consoles. I don't think Microsoft fully grasps that. And that's a shame. And the only way that I think that they're gonna, that they're really gonna understand that finally is when the Xbox completely fails next generation. Because I don't think very many people are hyped about that or excited by it. So, hopefully they can actually go out there and do that. Hey, please hit the like button, you guys and girls. Almost 100 likes. I'd love to get up over that. Here I am spending some Saturday with you. I put in a day's work already at the kennel, and taking care of some dogs and stuff. And now I'm just kind of chilling with you guys. And I wanted to do this because I miss Crappy Mondays. And we are going to be doing an MZ tomorrow on Mooch's channel. So there is that to look forward to. And, there is quite a bit of cool stuff to talk about. So I am going to talk about that. And we're going to be talking about like the games that we've been playing and stuff like that. So that's always cool. I've been playing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm kind of excited to do that. Let's see. Crap, what's your most hyped exclusive for next gen? Well, if I'm let me think. My most hyped exclusive, Fable maybe, or it depends. Whatever we see from actually God of War 2. Like, I know that's not announced yet, but it's a given that that's going to happen. So God of War 2 and Fable are probably my two most hyped. So yeah, I know people think I'm 100% down on Xbox all the time, and true, I won't need a Scarlet to play Fable, but I could probably play it just fine on my X. And so there is that. And so God of War 2 and Fable, obviously Spider-Man. I want to keep playing Uncharted. I'm hoping that they bring something new to the table with the Forza series, because what we've gotten so far has been kind of more the same, like the Horizon series. I love that game. But it seems to me like Horizon 4, maybe you guys understand where I'm coming from with this, but Forza Horizon 4 feels so much uh, like a games as a service game, you know, so much like a games as a service game. So I really want like a more of a focus on the festival again and the music and that kind of stuff. This one just feels like a bit of a, daily events and stuff like that kind of force that stuff. And I'm not a big fan of that. This year, believe it or not, the two game I was looking forward um, to Gears, but the crossplay stuff has soured me. And so the two games that I'm looking forward to most this year is that the Jedi Fallen Order and the new Call of Duty. I know it sounds lame, but that Call of Duty has me super excited. How do I deal with the hot weather? Air conditioning, but I do have to work outside a lot. So yeah. You think having a famous actor and actress in a game, a narrative on video games? Well, Alucard, here's the thing, which that's what Dracula backwards. I think it works for certain games. Like I think Crackdown 3 would have been better if Terry Crews had been involved right from the beginning, because you do this pretty cool opening thing with him, right? And it was really cool, and he's a cool dude. Of course, it wasn't going to help the gameplay, but then he just kind of disappears for almost the rest of the game, right? Like he's just kind of like says these random things throughout the game, and it's like not the forefront. Now with games like Detroit Become Human, they had some famous people in there, and I think that paid off really well for them. So yeah, I do think that there are situations where that stuff can really help out, having famous people in there or whatever. But I do think that what Microsoft has done is I'm not sure Microsoft is really a company that would do much, you know what I mean, in terms of changing things up to get a big expensive actor in a game or whatever. It was funny that they brought out Keanu Reeves, but who's really somebody famous that's in their games? I don't know. Like I guess the guy who plays JD in Gears, he used to be Spartacus on that show, so that's cool. The rest of them, I couldn't even really begin to tell you who's who on any of that stuff. So, I like Xbox, and I think I hope they can change things around, man. The main two things that I want is continue, since we're paying for Xbox Live, give us the option to disable the crossplay. I don't want to play against keyboard and mouse, and give us some exclusives, announce some stuff. Don't be afraid to announce stuff. Give us what we ask for. Like if you're all about options, and give us that. That's the things I want. Just announce some damn games and give us the ability to disable crossplay. Put your games wherever you want. Put them on a smartphone, a smart app, a smart fridge, a smart toilet. I don't care. Just let me play against only people on the console. So that's what I want. Like stop not listening to fans. Give us some games that we want. I don't think that's asking for too much. Next doc says, at least Sony talks straightforward. You want big AAA exclusives, PS5 is for you. Xbox talks about services, games as a service, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget their metrics for sales, right? Like, hey, I can guarantee it. How many people here in the chat think that Microsoft is going to be like, hey, so far 8 million Nashers have been reloaded. 12 million locusts have been chainsawed. Like they're going to do stupid metrics like that don't mean anything. Hit the like button if y'all wouldn't mind. I would really appreciate it. Jeffrey, he says, I really like State of Decay 2. I've met a few people that like State of Decay 2. Hold on. Baked BK Beds Die says, State of Decay doesn't need a story. Make your own fun. Dude, at what point do we stop giving Microsoft a pass on this stuff, right? What do you mean it doesn't need a story? So Sea of Thieves has no story. State of Decay has no story. When are we going to get some single-player story-based stuff, man? Like, don't you think that we need some of that? Like, State of Decay 1 had a story. You got chapter achievements in this. The State of Decay 2 is so lame because it's just random events happening. That's not fun to me. You got to have some kind of story-based, Xbox fanboys can deny and stay tall. The ship is sunk, but it's... Oh, listen. Make your own glitches, don't you mean? Oh, burn. I mean, look, that game has a button to reload you because you can actually end up caught in a glitch. When I first played that game, the first time I tried to play co-op with someone, people ended up like spawned in the floor or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, man, like like the State of Decay stuff. Like I like the first one. But this one just was not a good a good experience for me anyway. You know, like I don't, I know some other people might have liked it or whatever, and I hear you. But for me, it just wasn't. You know, yeah, just wasn't my thing. I wish we could have got what we were promised, because man, and I'm looking at some of my screenshots that I took of my Xbox. Man, this was such a beast. I was so happy with this damn machine for the longest time. But yeah, you know, when you look at what we got from what we were promised, totally different set of things, right? Like we were promised all these great games, and you know, it never really just came to fruition. You know, just and that's a real shame in my opinion. I really think that we could have got so much more with what we had, and the fact that Microsoft didn't believe in their own franchises really sort of ticks me off. You know, like how can you not believe in your franchises? How can you not give your fans what they want? You know, we've all been like asking for stuff for the longest time. Why not just give us some games? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me why we wouldn't get some games. You know, why not just announce something? It makes no sense whatsoever. You know, games are the central part of the platform. They're why we get these games. You know, they're why we get these consoles. You know, like put some effort into it. I think that would be like the main thing. Like the biggest point of gaming is to have fun, and they've kind of ruined the fun for me. You know, and I don't think just me. I think they ruined the fun for a lot of people. You know, wow, I took a lot of pictures of Recore. Man, that game looks bad. Ugh. I yeah, it's not great. It's not great. You know what game looks good though? That that Red Dead Redemption 1 with the 4K update. They actually did a good job with that. So, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Like, oh, Quantum Break was a good looking game too. Too bad that game was only like 4 hours long. I would really had hoped for a sequel to that or whatever, but nope, no such luck. Hopefully maybe in the future or whatever, but you know, Microsoft doesn't seem to listen. Like whenever we ask for stuff, just don't seem to care. I don't know, for whatever reason. I hope that one day they can actually listen to the fans and kind of pay attention to what people are actually requesting, because I feel like the fans are what drive the platform, and if you piss off the fans, then you're gonna scare them away from your platform to begin with, and so that's not really that's not really something that's gonna get you more people to your platform, right? Like if you don't have good content, people aren't gonna stick around. So Xbox flopped hard. I guess they're just too cheap. I mean, that could be it. Dual purposes. I'm hoping DS5 makes use of the motion control 6-axis so that Gran Turismo 7 could have gameplay that feels more immersive. I'll play that racing game. If they go back to more of the quality of Gran Turismo earlier games, I'm down with that. But the fact of the matter is, we have to wait and see a little bit before we see what they actually are going to do with that. Because I wasn't a huge fan of GT Sport. I was not. Just because I am playing more PS4 doesn't mean that I've suddenly think that all their stuff is great, because I still think NAC sucks, and I still think GT Sport is not a great game. But I think that there is a quality to previous Gran Turismo games, and if they could recapture that, I think that would be awesome. And so hopefully I'm very optimistic that they can actually do that. So, hopefully, anyway, I hope so. Going to answer some more questions. Why is Phil Spencer still there? Can Microsoft not? Well, listen, they did lose some money, but at the end of the day, they're not doing terribly bad, I guess, according to them. So I think we'll have to see how that kind of works out or whatever. But I think that, we'll have to wait and see a little bit more. For me, I always look at this stuff as like almost like a coaching situation. Like, how long do teams give coaches to turn things around, right? Well, the truth of the matter is they give coaches, usually 3 to 5 years, and Phil's at that 5-year mark. And has he turned things around? I think monetarily there's been some turnaround, but I'm not sure that there's been like some huge turnaround um, you know, with the console itself and things like that, and the qualities continue to get bad. So I think Gears is going to get in the 80s in Metacritic, probably 83, 84, something like that. The last one got an 84, so I see it being in the same line as that. But for me personally, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for them. I'm just not really 100% sure. So hopefully we get some good stuff from them in the future. Like they realize it. I mean, it's clear they've got to realize that their games suck, right? Like if you look at their games, they're just not very good right now. Just look at the games that they've released over the last few years. Uh, Halo Wars 2, Recore, let me think. Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves. Like these games just are not very good in terms of what they score and just the content that they bring to the table. Even Ashen, I'm not even like I don't even know. I think that's just an indie game, but they kind of hyped that up. But I don't think that game even scored very well. I don't think Microsoft is really doing great in the games department. It's kind of sad when you kind of look at what they were able to do with the Xbox 360 and how well the Xbox 360 did. They've kind of taken that all away. They've really taken it away. That's sort of a shame. I really feel bad that they've sort of went in the complete opposite direction of what made the Xbox so great for so many years. It was such a hardcore thing. And just seeing it, kind of struggle is just tough. I'm very despondent over it. Hit that like button, everybody. Let's get to 150. That would be great. Fun Creator says Crackdown 3, 6 years in development. Yeah, I think it was like 5 years or whatever. Levon Jones says, hey, Crap, what do you think Microsoft to do things like they did with Kingdom Hearts 3, like making deals with other companies? You can make deals with other companies, but unless you're getting exclusive content, it doesn't matter. That's the thing, right? If you're not getting something that makes your platform version better, then it literally does not matter. It 100% does not matter. How do I deal with your fan base turning on you? Listen, I don't hold it personally, to be honest with you. Just like I didn't hold personally what the PlayStation fans like. Listen, I poked the bear. I did, I made a lot of fun of stuff, just for react. Like I poked the bear a lot, like they were mad at me. It was just, I never took it seriously. It was just all in fun for me. I don't take it seriously with the Xbox people either. I wish that the Xbox people would understand like that I did take a lot of crap though, going to bat for Xbox for years, including threats of all kinds of natures and things like that. All the time. Like this was before there was multiple Xbox YouTubers. There was only a few of us. It was like me and Next Gen and maybe a couple others. But I took a brunt of that. I took a lot of hits, and people don't understand. They think me as attacking Xbox now when it's really me just upset with the way the platform is going and wanting them to be better. And not just for me. I want the platform to be better for everybody because the competition is what matters most and is what really is important. So Microsoft hopefully can understand that and kind of work on that in the future. But I think the fans owe it to themselves and content creators owe it to themselves and the fans as well to get Microsoft to actually create games and content that we all want. This waiting until a year before launch doesn't work for most people because we've already waited so long. So Microsoft has to throw out the rules, in my opinion, and sort of do something spectacular for a change. They have to get out there and kind of change it up and do something and get people excited because people aren't excited about Xbox games anymore. That's just the truth of the matter. Is even though some people might go, oh, I'm really excited. I would say, how can you be? And what is there actually to be excited about with Xbox right now? Right? Like another, another console gets announced and no new software gets announced. Like that's a real shame in my opinion. Like I don't understand how Microsoft can be kind of so cold-blooded when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? Like I don't understand what they're thinking with that. hold on, let me see. Let's see. Mr. Zombie Killer says, thank goodness Xbox has smart engineers that make Xbox ahead. I don't know what you're trying to say. Brujo X says, Phil Spencer is Xbox gamers. Yeah, I kind of agree with your sentiment there, dude. But I'm just saying that as far as I'm concerned, there's that Stockholm syndrome as well. Like, listen, how many times have we heard Phil Spencer say, we need to do better with first party? And then how many times has he actually done better with first party? Like, this isn't the first rodeo where he's mentioned something like that. It's really kind of unfortunate that that we haven't been able to get more out of the brand this generation. So basically we get kicked around. They refuse to announce anything, but people still flock to defend Phil and Xbox. Like, it's like, I mean, you guys remember, like, many of you know I'm a huge Simpsons fan, right? I love The Simpsons. One of my favorite episodes is the Camp Krusty episode where they go to Camp Krusty because they think Krusty the Clown's going to be there, and it ends up being run by this subsidiary company that paid Krusty a lot of money, and they're making like these fake Gucci wallets and stuff like that. And they're, it's really dilapidated, and some of you guys probably know this, right? So anyway, long story short, Bart, he never lets his faith in Krusty waver, and no matter how bad things he gets, he's just sitting there rocking back and forth going, Krusty is coming. Krusty is coming. It's like, that's how Phil Spencer apologists are. They're just like, we trust Phil. In Phil, we trust. We trust Phil. In Phil, we trust. Even though he spouts the exact same stuff over and over again and has actually delivered nothing. If you're not delivering games, you're not delivering nothing. Like I've said this multiple times before, and maybe when they announce some games, I can get back on the hype train and start talking about Scarlet. But I just honestly cannot see how anybody can hype up another dang console from Microsoft when we've heard zero new IP from Microsoft. And I just refuse to, like, it's something right now that I can't even do, right? How the heck can anybody with a straight face or with any kind of conscience talk up Scarlet when there's no new IP? None. Absolutely, I don't see how it can be done. Honestly, I would love to know how it could be done. I don't see how it could be done. Maybe somebody else could explain it, but I just don't understand it. Epic Helio says, does Ghost of Tsushima have a release date yet? I can't wait to play it. I have a feeling it's going to release around the PS5 launch date. General Thad Ape says, crap is right. I just wish that he had been like this, told the truth from day one. Listen, I did tell the truth. I was very excited by what Xbox was doing. Go back and look at what Xbox launched with, dude. The first 2 years of Xbox were great. And they were talking up DX12 and buying the content. Remember, for the first couple of years, they still had Call of Duty map packs. They had the parity clause. Games couldn't release on other platforms first. They had to release on Xbox first or at the same time. Like, Phil said he was in it to win it. This isn't stuff I'm making up. That's the truth. I had every reason to believe that Microsoft and Xbox was going to be great. They launched with really solid titles. Maybe they weren't like 90-something Metacritic games, but when you launch a system, those games usually tend to get better as the years goes on. Microsoft's got worse. Sony's got better. Secret Sauce is overrated. It says, crap, you have abandoned the principles that bound us together. You've taken up the sword against your own people. I will honor the man you once were, not this monster you have become. Listen, I just want great games from Microsoft, not just for me, but for you too, man. You deserve great games. Why do you guys not think you deserve great games? Come on. You guys have suffered just like me this generation. We all deserve great AAA games. Not only do we deserve great AAA games, but we deserve great AAA games to be announced sooner rather than later. Like I had this discussion, I wouldn't say argument, but with someone on Twitter yesterday. I was like, look, the Switch just came out. Zelda was a launch title. 2 years in, they already announced a sequel to Zelda on a little flash card. It's in development. They announced Metroid Prime 4. Yes, there was development problems, but that happens. They announced it on a little flash card. It's now in development, Metroid Prime 4. People get excited for that stuff. You know what people don't get excited for? Bleeding Edge and more double A's and no announcements, right? I'm sorry, but that stuff just doesn't do it for me. And it doesn't do it for a lot of people, clearly. I know some people are going to get angry that I say that, but that's just the truth. Microsoft has done nothing to get anybody excited about the platform. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Let's see. I don't know who that is, the real dragon. But I don't really watch a lot of people on YouTube either. Let's see. Phil doesn't believe in AAA sequels unless it's named Halo, Gears of War. So they don't really give people a lot of options with that stuff, right? Dual Purpose says, see, this is the problem with Xbox. One of their biggest fans is speaking to the rest of the loyalists, and they turn on them instead of Microsoft. Yeah, like I get blamed for this stuff, right? Like I get called a flip-flopper when Microsoft are the ones that flip-flop. And to be honest with you, I just want the brand to be better. Like I don't like why blame me? Why not blame Microsoft for their piss poor thing? And a lot of people go, well, they bought these studios. And then I go down the list of studios, and I'm like, well, 3 or 4 of them are making multiplats that are coming to PlayStation. So those are tied up for the next couple of years doing that. When are we actually going to get something AAA from these new studios? And that's when people just kind of start to get really kind of annoyed or pissy or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, just honestly, let me see. Next Doc says, yeah. Next Doc says, I'm calling it now, man. Due to the gaming climate, Gears 5 Metacritic score will be higher than Gears 4 because it's a female protagonist. They call it refreshing because it's not a bunch of men. Maybe. I mean, if it is, I don't know. Xbox Best Box says, crap, do you think Xbox will ever get an exclusive? Like an exclusive? No. Will they get console exclusives? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I still think console exclusives matter because people that game on PC play on PC, and people that play on console play on console. So, Shine says, I'm just trying to understand the mindset of Xbox apologists for abuse. Yeah, like I don't know exactly what the thinking is with Xbox apologists either. Like I'm not really sure what the deal is. I just think that it's kind of clear what Microsoft's idea is for the future, and that's like a third party type situation, right? Like they'll have a console, but again, they have a console right now, but next to nobody is even really bothered with it. That's if you look at it, what 35, maybe 40 million, if they're lucky, but there's no way there's 40 million active users or active Xbox One owners. It's probably like 30 or less, and less and less people to play against, and they're pushing this PC agenda, crossplay, all this kind of stuff. So, they're changing things, and it's not for the better, in my opinion. Like I get some stuff is okay. Like I think Game Pass is a fun little thing, but for me personally, I only got that because it was $1. So I think a lot of people really kind of are in that same situation as me, where it was like, oh, it was $1, so let's go ahead and grab it. But I just feel like Microsoft has not learned from their past enough to really go out there and sort of change anything in terms of gaming. Like I feel like Sony's going to go out there and kick butt next generation, and I feel like there's nothing much that Microsoft is going to be able to do to sort of prevent that from happening, unfortunately. So yeah, there is that sort of aspect of it and that side of it. So hopefully I'm wrong, though. I wouldn't mind being wrong about that. Have you seen the next dashboard for the Xbox One? Yeah, it looks a lot like the PlayStation 4 dashboard, unfortunately. Sonic says, Crapgamer, I disagree with what Kira, Nor, and Honeygold tweeted about you. I believe they're censoring your viewpoints. I don't know who they are, so I'm not really sure. Jesse Darby says, I got to give Rand Al Thor some credit. He said in here with the talent initiatives pulling, they're going to have one of them big AAA budget games. It's going to take a while for them. Yeah, it's going to be a while. I would assume 4 to 5 years. So they started sometime this year. I would assume that 2024 would be and you wouldn't see anything from it till 2023. So you've got a long time before you see anything. Mass murders. He says, your little lowball 40 million number, I'm tired of hearing it. Dude, if if it's low, how can it? I don't know how it could be low, but take it up with Microsoft, right? I mean, go look. I'm not saying VG charts is 100% accurate, but there's tons of places out there that are saying that it's under 40 million. It shouldn't be a secret. Look at how Microsoft has look at their games this generation. They're garbage. Nobody wants it. Barry Big Plums, what's up? He says, finally gave in and ditched my Xbox One X and got a Pro again. So many games, so many good games. I've been loving it. Hey, man, congrats to you. Like, congrats to anybody that sees the light and actually wants to enjoy PS4. If you've just been an Xbox gamer this entire generation, I implore you, pick up a cheap PS4, pick up cheap God of War, Spider-Man, Detroit, Uncharted 4, Uncharted Collection, Until Dawn, Ratchet and Clank. Pick up some The Last of Us. Horizon Zero Dawn. These games are very cheap right now. You can probably get all the games I just mentioned for less than a year subscription of Game Pass, by the way, and experience true greatness in video games. No joke. God of War is a life-altering video game. That is a game that you play and you experience it, and you're like, holy cow, what did I just do? Like, it's really that good. The difference between these type of games and Xbox games are absolutely unbelievable, and just completely different scenarios, man. Xbox is like minor league single A ball, and PlayStation exclusives are like triple A, or like, like major league ball. Mass Murder says Minecraft owned by Xbox. Yeah, if they were smart, they'd pull it off everything and make it an Xbox exclusive, make people buy their consoles to play it. The Real Dragon says, do you think backwards compatibility took most of Xbox's time? Remember, PlayStation took a different route and Xbox went forward with backwards compatibility. Microsoft needed to do whatever they could to try to attract people, right? And this is the point that I always make, because people will go, they try to blame the 2013 reveal of Xbox as the reason why nobody wants an Xbox, right? Not true. Look, Xbox has no exclusives. The ones that they do have are really poorly rated and low regarded. That's the fact. The other ones that they have that they put money into are long in the tooth, and because they have nothing new, they look even worse. So people just see it as more Halo, Gears, and Forza. If you had other big time stuff that you believed in and was out as well, it wouldn't be as bad, right? Like Sony can get away with having Gran Turismo and God of War because they had a Horizon Zero Dawn and Death Stranding and Days Gone, right? But the fact that Microsoft doesn't have anything big at AAA like that to kind of to go in there as well makes their long in the tooth game seem that much longer in the tooth. So that's unfortunate. Christopher says Xbox hasn't learned from their mistakes this entire generation. I don't know how we would believe they'll make up for it next gen. If I have to be brutally honest, I don't know either. Griff says, wrong crap. It's all about that Google Stadia next gen. It's the future. People don't even go there. Yeah. Stadia. Nobody's even talking about that. I think Phil's starting to realize that now too. Like, not only is nobody talking about Xcloud, but nobody's talking about Stadia either. It's like just one of those things where, people just don't care. I just, to be honest with you, people just don't care. It's just one of those things where what have we got game wise that we've actually asked for? I'm curious. Like, does anybody know in the chat, was there a game that we asked for that we actually got that Microsoft delivered? Because I'm having a hard time sort of remembering if we ever did get anything. So I don't know. Neo Geo says PSVR is another platform with exclusives. Xbox can't compete with Xbox getting work this gen. Nass Murder says 5G at the end of 2020 and will be something. But listen, I just read this article that says 5G isn't going to be ready for another 5+ years, and it's very inconsistent up and down. So if you're expecting that, and also Mass Murders, you might want to look into this new bit, is 31% of American households don't even have a broadband connection. So who's going to be using this stuff? Like, I get that Xbox dudes are resorting to this and this, but shouldn't Xbox dudes be saying, well, we're going to have great exclusives, and that's why people are going to buy Xbox and invest in Xbox, not like weird gimmicky stuff like cloud streaming and services, right? Like, why is it that Xbox people hype up services and Xcloud and all this nonsense, and Nintendo and PlayStation dudes hype up games like exclusives? Like, why is it that way. If you're an Xbox dude or girl, like, shouldn't you be hyping up games? Shouldn't you be excited about games? Like, that's the stuff that you get excited about, and you wonder why Xbox is getting the crap kicked out of them. That's why. Like, you got people hyping up this stuff instead of actual games, and I think that it's pretty clear that people actually want games more than this other stuff. I'm sorry, but that's just the facts. Hashtag facts. People want video games, not not this constant services announcements. Look, if Xbox, let's just put it this way, Xbox is at under 40 million right now, right? Despite the fact that it has the most powerful box, the least expensive box with the S, the only box with backwards compatibility with Xbox and Xbox 360. It's got free updates to a lot of 360 games that make them 4K. It's got Game Pass, game gifting, play anywhere, right? So why is it Xbox doing better? Because it doesn't have games that people are interested in. There's like no other way to put it, right? No other way to put it. I'm sorry. The reason why Xbox is failing is because they have no content. The content that people, and listen, multiplats are great, right? We all play multiplats a lot. But if you don't have that exclusive content that draw people in, then why wouldn't somebody go somewhere else where they can get the exclusive content and the multiplats, right? That's why Microsoft is messed up. They've messed up because they don't understand that. That's something that that's something that people just don't get. Power is overrated. Honestly, price and exclusive content is what does it. Yep. I would never hype up streaming games. I would never recommend it. Well, why? Who would? Even Phil isn't hyping it or recommending it. Please hit the like button, y'all. Let's get to 150 likes. I would really appreciate that. I think you guys have been fantastic. I'm having such a good time. Actually have spent over more time than what I expected to. But hey, man, I love you guys and I love doing these type of videos. So I'll give it a few more minutes and answer some questions for sure. Ryan says maybe Phil Spencer wasn't feeling the game drop because he was playing PS4 when he got off work. I wouldn't put it past him. Like, I see Phil game sometimes, and he's usually on like PC or something, and he's usually playing some indie game. He's very out of touch. Have I played any Borderlands games? I've played some Borderlands games, but I haven't like played them, like gotten really into them. Hold on. Hey, appreciate it, Rondaz. Sony living off multiplats sucks, man. They should why should people buy an X just for multiplats? It makes no sense. I agree. Mass Murder says, so power no good now, but at the beginning of the console when PlayStation had no games, power was all the rage. Listen, Sony had a more powerful console for less price. Of course it mattered then. They were doing the standard, which was 1080p, which I agree. It was kind of stupid thing to really argue about, but they were playing multiplats better. And they also, everybody knew that Sony was going to come out with exclusives. Nobody knew what Microsoft was going to do because they were getting just beat so badly. Nobody knew what to expect. So yes, things did change. Maybe that's hypocritical, but at the end of the day, Sony is just offering way more in terms of what they were doing. Like at the time, like Microsoft doesn't have anything to really compete, in my opinion. So just in my opinion. So yeah. Answer a few few questions. Hit the like button, y'all. Shine says nothing pisses me off more than when one person brings down something good. What are you talking about? Griff says Trap convinced Mooch to invest in a cowbell. I need Mooch and Crap jam session. That would be funny. Have I played Persona 5? No, I've never played any Persona game. I don't know if those are my games. Like I've given like Judgment and Yakuza games a try and some of these other games, but I'm not sure that I could get into a Persona game, just being honest. Mass says, so Gears, Halo, and Forza, so we can expect from Microsoft, but we have no games. Dude, that's all we can expect from Microsoft, Mass. That's the problem, right? Like those games are fine, but those are the only games that Microsoft gives us that are consistently any decent, that are any good. Everything else has been cruddy. Mr. Zombie Killer says if Xbox just stopped making games, I would quit gaming. Controller is the best. Well, they make plenty of controllers for you, my friend. Barry Big Plum says the one thing I have noticed when swapping back to PS4 is how quickly I find games when online. Now, so many extra people are online. Well, if you look at the online, there's way more people on Call of Duty and GTA, just every game, because there's so many more people on PlayStation than there is Xbox. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Low end of average says Sony is adding value to our investment to their platform, whereas Microsoft is taking value away. Agree. Nine Lives. He says Microsoft will reign exclusives next gen. Watch. Nine Lives. Let me ask you, which studio, in your opinion, is going to deliver the first new AAA IP from Microsoft, and what year do you think that studio is going to deliver said new AAA IP? Because we're in 2019. We've already waited 4.5 years. How many more years till we get a new AAA IP from Microsoft? Like, I'm curious about what you think. How would I feel if Microsoft made me head of Xbox? I would make Xbox great again. I can guarantee it. Let's see. Bringing down, yeah, Wolfenstein. I haven't played Wolfenstein Youngblood, but feel free to game gift it. I would love to try and play it. You know, we'll have to see what it's all about. Yeah, I'm a fan of the Wolfenstein series, so hopefully we can get, you know, I can eventually get it or whatever. Maybe I'll just get it when it's on sale. I don't know. See how it goes. Am I pre-ordering the Bambi game? No, I'm 100% not. There was a lot of good games that came out the original Xbox in 2013. They got a lot of guff because of what happened with the console, like Quantum Break. Listen, Quantum Break was fun, right? But it was a 4-hour game, folks. Like, to be honest with you, it was a 4-hour game. That's, you know, didn't have a reload animation. Like, I think it was a good game, but it was just a really short game with a lot of TV elements, and so people kind of treated it poorly, you know. And that's unfortunate, but just at the end of the day, you know, just kind of is what it is. And I hope that Microsoft kind of learns from that and kind of does something else. But we'll never get a Quantum Break sequel, so it doesn't matter. Mario Heat says, do you see Gears 5 as being a serious game of the year candidate? No, I don't. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be in the running for Gears for game of the year at all. You know, at all. So you got your graphics aspect of Quantum Break, but it was too short for. Yeah, I thought it was a good game, but it was really short, and the TV show kind of went a little bit long for me. Like, I felt like it probably would have been better if it would have been like a 15-hour game with regular cutscenes. No, Andrew, man, I'm afraid that there is no more Quantum Break. Who would make it, right? Like, who would make a new Quantum Break game? Like, that was made off of a Remedy exclusive. That was Remedy's own engine, by the way. And so who would make the next one, right? Like, that's something that I would say. Xbox Best Box says Gears 5 will get a 78 Metacritic. That would be funny. I think it's going to get an 80 something, though, to be honest with you. So we'll have to see how that sort of works out. But I'm not expecting like a 90 something. Some people are expecting like a 90 something. I don't see how Gears could get a 90 something. Usually the fifth entry in something isn't going to like do too well, in my opinion. But so I've been wrong before. I see how that goes. I'm definitely not 100% right all the time. So I want it to do good. I want it to be a good game. I want to get my dollar's worth for sure. I've got $1 invested in it, so we'll have to see how it goes. Crap. What about Sony's censorship policy? The game studios, I think, will deliver for Xbox's Obsidian, new Star Wars or Fallout. Well, Obsidian doesn't own those franchises, though, bro. So if they were to make a Fallout or a Star Wars game, it'd be multi-plat. And Obsidian is busy with Outer Worlds, and they're contracted to do Outer Worlds too. So I'm not exactly sure what they can do or when they will do it. Killzone 5 will outsell Halo if it's set to launch with the PS5. I don't know. Maybe. The reason why I say that is because there's the PC crowd that's kind of excited about a new Halo, but I don't think it's going to do very well on the console at all. Let's see. Gears 5 will get a lower score because of media bias. 9 Lives. No, there's no media bias. If Gears 5 is good, it'll do well. Predator Hunting Grounds will be sick. Remember Splinter Cell Chaos Theory multiplayer? Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think what they're going to do is going to be pretty dang good. So I'm excited to see kind of what they have and what they're gonna show with that. Like Sony, a lot of times they get a lot of crap for doing stuff with no multiplayer, but I think that they're gonna be doing a lot more multiplayer. I think they're gonna do a new Killzone. That Predator game, The Last of Us 2 is gonna have multiplayer. They're gonna do more multiplayer stuff. The question is will Microsoft do more single player stuff, which I think absolutely probably not. Just honestly, yeah, just my opinion anyway. So hopefully they can fix something up though. I would love to be wrong. I just am not sure that I am. That's the problem. So hopefully I'm wrong. Why isn't there an advertisement media blitz for Gears 5? Well, because Sony doesn't believe or Microsoft doesn't believe in advertising on TV anymore. They think that nobody watches TV. So let's see. Crapgamer with this video. I thought it was Monday. Mr. Zombie Killer. Yeah, I missed Crappy Mondays. I was busy, so I figured I'd do something right now. And I'm gonna wrap it up. I think I'll take a couple more questions, and then I'll end the show. I'll do a couple more. Hold on. It's 9 Live says it's cool to hate Xbox right now. You really think that won't affect the score? No, I think the media doesn't hate Xbox. I think the fans, the hardcore fans, feel betrayed, and they're hating on Xbox. But nobody's, I think, wishing for a bad score for Gears. Sonic says, I called Nintendo support yesterday. They said they're okay with you covering Nintendo content, so this is an FYI they watch. Well, I mean, listen, I would love to be able to review stuff. I'll look into it, man, see if I can do like some Switch stuff, because I like Marvel Ultimate Alliance would have been fun to review. Some of this stuff would have been great to kind of review and kind of get a hold of or whatever. When are you going to start? I'm working on, I'm working on 5 videos right now where I'm kind of splicing my own footage of me in there and stuff. And I want to get those ready to go, and I'll release one of those each week for 5 weeks. And then during those times, I'll be making more and see how the reception goes for that. But it's taken me a little bit longer than I anticipated to kind of do that, because I'm kind of half moved in over with my fiance and half still here. So I'm trying to get stuff worked out there. So we'll see how it goes. Dual Purpose says Microsoft never made a great IP, nothing original. Yeah, I mean, even they bought Halo and they bought Gears. Forza, I guess, is pretty great, but other than that, man, they just haven't really had much. Big Barry Big Plum says it's the first time I have seen a noticeable amount of people throwing the towel at a video game company. I think people have had enough. Is Wolf says, yeah, great crap, love your content, I appreciate it. Let's see. Do gameplay. Yeah, I will. I'm gonna be recording a lot more new gameplay as well. I just have to get set up a little bit. In the next 2 weeks, I'll be recording more. Bungie isn't the same to me after they left Microsoft. Well, Microsoft really kind of screwed them over too. So if you think about it, to be honest with you, so hopefully that Microsoft can land somewhere for the better. Like, I want them to be good. I just don't know if they will be. I hope that they are, though, you guys and girls. I really hope that they are. I hope that they can come back. I really do hope that they can come back and do something. They can do something special. I hope so. I really, really hope so. Let's see here. M&C show is tomorrow. Barry Big Plums. Brian says, hey, crap of Marvel, where do you go to Xbox and ask them to make a game? Hey, I would love for them to make a game, but I don't know if they will. Crap, you want them to come back. They themselves don't care to come back. I agree 100%. Phil Spencer won his business degree when he beat the final boss at some game. I don't know about that, but if you guys would please hit the like button, I would appreciate it, and share it out. This is going to be it for me for today. We'll be back tomorrow on M&C, but I really do appreciate y'all coming by and checking out one of my streams. Thank you guys so much. Please have a great day. Like, share, all that kind of stuff. Hit the bell. Have a great time. Have fun gaming. That's important. Thank you so much for the support. Peace out.